Good afternoon and welcome back to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. Today we are coming at you loaded for bear. We've got a lake by lake report from Ethan at East County Bait and Tackle. We have the juice, which is something that's been going on here lately. That I'm all about. And then we have the interview, and you're gonna have to stay for this interview because it's a good one. We have Carson and JJ from Foraging4Donkeys. If you guys haven't seen the Instagram, their Instagram, Foraging4Donkeys, you're gonna have to go check that out because it's a good one. And these guys have been killing it. They're taking advantage of the situation at El Capitan with the no boat launch. They are launching their kayak and their pond prowler and catching some donkeys. JJ just got an 11.5 pounder a few days ago. So here we are. And welcome back to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. We're gonna jump right into it and go to Ethan, East County Bait and Tackle, for our lake report. Okay, a few things I forgot. There was a couple things I forgot already. Congratulations to Andres Guzman, who boated his new personal best at Lower Otay day before yesterday. 15.9 pounds. Huge fish. You can see it right here. It's all over Facebook, but I'll go ahead and post a picture of it right here. Quick. Yeah, I'm trying to get a hold of him and see if he can do a short little deal for us here on the podcast. But congratulations, Andre Guzman. He's a member of Southland Bass Club. He's been around forever. Great guy. Rumor has it he caught it on a trout swim bait of some kind, but that's a rumor, so I don't know. It's a giant fish, 15.9 pounds. Next thing up is, let me look here real quick. East County Bait and Tackle Day Series, sponsored by El Cajon Ford, is back for 2026. They finally got the dates scheduled. They were up in the air. They're going to go to El Cap, blah blah blah, low water, blah blah blah, and now East County Bait and Tackle Tournament Series, Team Series is back for 2026. First tournament of the season is January 31st at Lower Otay. Go in. And in-store entries are now being accepted. Enter in the store through January 30th, 2026 to get your team entered into the drawing for a free entry sponsored by Lyle Hunter Financial and Tax Services. Thank you, Lyle, for doing that. Go into East County, sign up early, get your name dropped in the hat for a free entry. And that's awesome. We're so looking forward to that. Jim Edwards and I are going to be partners again for the East County Tournament Series, and we're super looking forward to that. I don't know if he's going to be able to make the first one, but he had his foot operated on. But whatever, we're super excited that East County is back. Tournament Series, Team Series is back. It's a big deal. San Diego, that's our own team series down here. Looks like, of course, we're going to be going back and forth from San Vicente to Lower Otay, and hopefully they're going to get the launch ramp back open at El Cap, and then that'll be in the mix. But right now, we are good to go with that. Last thing on the list, is here we go. Oh, come on now. Please join us for San Diego Fisheries and Science update. The date change on this for the Friends of Lakes, Matt Lucero, San Diego Bassmasters, Friends of the Lakes are doing a co-sponsored thing here, and where they're going to have Matt Lucero in from the Department of Fish and Wildlife coming in to answer questions for us. He's going to do a big presentation. He's going to have this screen projector set up. He's going to do a lot of questions and answers afterwards. It's going to be a whole big deal. I think we're going to have some food there. Free to the public. Adult Enrichment Center in La Mesa on Thursday, February 5th. Doors open at 6:15. Thursday, February 5th. Doors open at 6:15. La Mesa Adult Enrichment Center, 8450 La Mesa Boulevard. 8450 La Mesa Boulevard, La Mesa, California. And it's a presentation and discussion with Matt Lucero, environmental scientist, Reservoir Fisheries Program, South Coast Region, California Department of Fish and Wildlife. Matt's territory goes, I think it extends all the way to Santa Barbara. He is stationed here at the local DFW office, which is on Ruffin Road. And it's going to be a great thing. If you guys have any questions, San Diego Bass Fish, whatever, you can contact Tom at 858-922-9933. That's 858-922-9933. And I'll see if I can put some kind of description or something in the descriptions. But that's it, February 5th. See you there. All right, let's give it, we got Ethan here from East County Bait and Tackle.
How's it going, guys?
He's going to give us a lake-by-lake report from the floor of East County.
Right, we got lakes are, you know, kind of a typical winter bite, but all the lakes are kind of a lot different right now. You go to El Cap, you start catching them up a little shallower. A lot of guys are still throwing, you know, jigs, free rigs, various bottom baits. You kind of pick your poison there. Bigger presentation isn't a bad idea, trying to go for those bigger fish. If you go to Otay, you got a big variety of things you could throw, and I mean, guys recently caught a near 16-pounder on a swim bait, and then you got other guys catching them on the ice jig. So you got a lot of opportunity there on different size and presentation baits. San V, I mean, kind of to the name and how it always fishes, it is a little bit deeper, so I would move not that far off the bank there, but that 40 to 50 foot range. Throw in those same kind of finesse jigs and free rig style baits, drop shots as always.
So what's your favorite free rig bait, especially if you're fishing deep water like that?
If you can get away with it, I like the Doe Live Beaver a lot. That one I don't think you can go too wrong with. Another one, if you want to go deeper, I like throwing a worm on a free rig too, because it falls so much faster.
Yeah.
So it's similar to other presentations you may have with the worm, but just to switch it up a little bit, I'll throw a worm on a free rig as well.
So do you use a 6-inch worm, 4-inch worm, or what's your favorite?
I'll go 6. Like, I'll adjust based on certain things, but as a starting point, around that 5 to 7-inch range.
Yeah, and just adjust your weight to whatever depth you're fishing or whatever.
Yeah, depth you're fishing. With how thin the worms are that I'm fishing, straight tail worms, it's gonna sink with the weight. Like, it's not gonna take too long to get that thing down there. Yeah. So if you need a 1/4 ounce, throw a 1/4, and kind of just, it's gonna be a pretty consistent sink rate with that worm. It doesn't have anything slowing it down.
So I know we talked about the big 3 lakes, but as far as the small lakes are concerned, like Jennings, Murray, whatever, has the trout been a factor to catching bass?
100%. I mean, there's no doubt that they go for that bigger forage this time of year. Whether you have an exact trout replica bait or not, I think the fish are just more willing to go for a bigger bait.
Yeah. And
a bigger bait that might be moving not exactly typical to how you'd winter fish too, you know. You fish that jig and that drop shot super slow on the bottom, but some of those bigger fish are up shallow, a little bit more aggressive. They're not necessarily looking for something crawling.
Kind of following those trout around.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Same way they might with bluegill in the summer. Like, you catch a fish dragging a jig in the summer, but you can catch a fish ripping a bluegill bait through the grass too. Right. Same kind of idea.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Okay, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the juice. I got my coffee. I've got my iRod hat, and I've got my Tunaville t-shirt on. Shout out to Tommy Gomes. He's the man down there at Tunaville. If you need any fish, fish market. Go see him. He's in Point Loma. He knows his stuff, obviously. He is the fishmonger. 5 seasons of the fishmonger on whatever channel it is. I think it's Paramount or whatever. Go see Tommy Gomes. He's down there every day and he'll set you up. Swordfish, rockfish. He's really good at selling and preparing. I don't want to say less desirable cuts of the fish, but he uses the whole fish. He utilizes the whole fish in a lot of ways. So anyway, talk to Tommy at Tunaville. This is the juice coming at you. Hold on here. And today we are talking about jigs. Considering we had Randy Lewis on last podcast, and he was going over some specifics, I figured I'd go ahead and juice it up with some jig juice. Some jig juice. So here we go. Here we go. I've got 2 outfits for you today. And one is a float tube outfit, and one is more for what I use on the boat. And we're going to go into the specifics of this whole thing. We're going to dive deep here. We're going to dive deep. So, to start things off with, this is my outfit that I've been using at El Capitan in my float tube. Now, pretty standard. Oh goodness gracious. I got all sorts of stuff going on here. Pretty standard jig. Okay, and we're going to get into that, but more specifically, this is the IRG 723 medium heavy. So it's a 3-power. It's a 7.2 3-power iRod Gen 2 or Gen 3. The name of it is called the Stone Cold Swim and Vibrating Jig Rod. So it's 7.2. I like a little shorter rod for my jig fishing out of a float tube because it's just a little easier to use. It's easier to cast. You know, you're so close to the water that I think a long 7-11, 7.6 type of rod kind of is unwieldy in the float tube. So I go to this vibrating jig rod, which is the chatterbait rod for iRod. I'm using a straight 14-pound sniper on it. Now, that's kind of the deciding factor between these 2 outfits. Is this one has straight fluorocarbon on it. It's all fluorocarbon. And the other one, which is pretty much the same length of rod. It's a 7.2 or 7.1 3-power rod. This is an NRX, but it's in the same kind of category, you know, a medium heavy rod, 3-power, 7.1, 7.2, and then you got your jig. But what the difference is with this one is, and this is for me specifically, this is what works for me. It's got 14-pound, 15-pound, 16-pound, a leader. It's got about a 10 to 15-foot leader of fluorocarbon on it, backed up to 30-pound braid. And the difference between these, also another difference between these 2, is this was an 8-to-1. Now see, this is a specific jig outfit for me. In the boat, when I have access to 20 different outfits in the boat. So I have this rigged up with a jig like all the time. That's why it has an 8-to-1 reel. This outfit is a 7-to-1 reel, and because it's multifunction. So I use a 7-to-1 straight fluorocarbon, so I don't have to worry about tying leaders on in my float tube. And I can also use it for a chatterbait. I can use it for rattle traps. I can use it for multiple different things. Right now, I'm using it for jig fishing. It's working great. It's a great jig rod. So that is like the main difference between those 2 outfits. One is specifically for the boat. When I have access to leaders, I can tie new leaders. I can and I have a jig rod, I have a chatterbait rod, I have a rattle trap rod, specific outfits for those things. But when I'm in the float tube, I have to condense my tackle. Or if you're a backseater in a tournament situation, you know, you want to, I'm gonna step away from the leaders, so I don't have to tie any leaders on. I don't have to bring any of that stuff. And then I'm going to use a rod that's multi-purpose. And those are my two things. So, next up, what do we have here? So this is the jig. This is the jig right now for me. Hold on. Okay, these are even. This is even. I'm gonna cut them off here. I'm gonna cut them off and show you. They're pretty much the same. Okay. What this is, let's see here. Let's see if I can do this. I'm trying, there it goes. Okay, there it is. That's the little devil. This is a jig that is popular in San Diego. What jig is this? Okay, here, this one might be a little better. What jig is this? Everything about this jig has been thought about. So this is like a pitching head. It's actually it's a jig that's poured by a number of local guys. You can't buy them in a commercial sense, in that there's some specific things about it. So one thing is the head. You'll notice that head is not a football head, and it's not a arky head. It's like an arky head. It's more like an arky head than a football head, that's for sure. It's a pitching head is what it is. It's a pitching head. And but if you want that head, you have to pour your own. The next thing is they've been modified is the weed guard. You know, Randy, you heard Randy talk about, I got a little weed guard on there, a little double wire weed guard. And then you have a double wire, it's a double stainless piece of wire coming out of the head that's molded into the head weed guard. Next thing is it's a fine wire hook. That's a fine wire hook. Now this isn't a flipping jig. This isn't a heavy wood type jig. It's not a punching jig. This is a jig specifically made for casting into rock and grass and around in the San Diego area or Diamond Valley. Where I found it was really good too was at the river, Meade, Mojave, those kind of things where there's a lot of rock and dealing with a lot of grass. This comes through rock exceptionally well. Exceptionally well. This comes through grass pretty good. A lot better than a football head, that's for darn sure. Now the other thing is, and this is for me specifically, this is what I do as far as a trailer goes. And the trailer, I don't know what Randy's using. But this is what has been working for me here this last couple weeks at El Cap. Works great at Lower Otay. Of course, it works great at San Vicente. And that's a chigger craw. It's a chigger craw. Green pumpkin chigger craw. Something about the chigger craw. It's, for the most part, right here, that is the 3-inch chigger craw. This is also good. This is a 4-inch chigger craw. Anyway, whatever. One thing about this, I'm going to give you, now this is the series, this is the juice here. Now we're getting to the juice, and it has to do with trailers, and this is something that I have found for myself. So we like using these 3-inch chigger craws, right? Okay, so a 3-inch chigger craw, 4-inch chigger craw. See that? See how much bigger the pinchers are. But the 3-inch chigger craw has this little tiny body on it. Little tiny body. You can see the difference between the two, how much more plastic there is on the 4-inch. So it's hard to find a hook that matches the 3-inch chigger craw. But we like the claws on the 3-inch chigger craw. So what do we do? We could, I guess you could take the 4-inch and trim them. You know, you could trim these down, cut them, blah, 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 blah. But I got something better. This is a 4-inch Crazy Legs chigger craw. And the interesting thing about the 4-inch chigger craw is that it has the same appendages, it has the same flappers as a 3-inch chigger craw, but the body is the 4-inch chigger craw body. Look at that, look at that. It's the same body as a 4-inch, but the 3-inch has 3-inch. So what do you got to do? Well, you got to do a little modification of the little Crazy Leg chigger craw. And you're going to take the crazy legs off of it. Right here. Okay, so these are the crazy legs. And we're going to take those off. And now I have a 4-inch body chigger craw, and with the 3-inch flappers. So here's a 4-inch. Look at that. Look at that. Now we're getting somewhere. I'll even go one. So I use this on so how did that come up? Well, I ran out of 4-inch ones. I ran out of 4-inch chigger craws, and I had a bunch of these Crazy Leg 4-inch chigger craws. I ran out of standard 4-inch ones, and it was like a couple years ago. And so I had a bunch of these Crazy Legs in the boat. So I took the Crazy Legs out, and they weren't really, I wanted it to match up. So I pulled the Crazy Legs off, you know, and it was like, oh, okay. They ended up biting this one best out of all of them. They wanted this one. One step even better for this, now this is an excellent Carolina rig bait. Pardon my sip. This is an excellent Carolina rig bait. So now I'm gonna also use this as a jig trailer. So that was one thing about these two jigs that was different, is that they have the same claws, but you can see that this is the already modified Crazy Legs chigger craw. Has a little beefier body. But what did I do to this? So I slimmed it down a little more, and I took the appendages off. So it's just the claws. I've taken everything off. I've taken these little appendages off. So I took all those appendages off, and now it's just flappers on that Crazy Leg chigger craw. Another thing about these jigs is living rubber. And this is what a lot of people will call frog hair. This is a very thin living rubber. This is the smallest diameter of rubber. Now, the thing about this is these two jigs are 3/8. And the reason I'm using a 3/8 ounce jig right now is just because of where the fish are at. They're fish up shallow. Using a 3/8 ounce jig, not a lot of wind, you know, and dragging it very, very slowly, and they're biting it if I had to go to the half-ounce jig, which there's a half-ounce version of the same jig, and if I went to a half-ounce, then I would be using a medium living rubber on that. So, but these are super finessey. They're super small. Look at, you can see how small they are, and the skirt's real short. Here, the skirt's real short. It comes down to the bend of the hook, or a little bit past the bend of the hook. Super finessey, great little jig. You can buy those at you can get them at John's shop. So there is one guy that's pouring them. He lives up in Ramona. I think they're what are they called? Anyway, if you go into John's shop and ask for local jigs, he'll show you. They're over there in the jig aisle. There is a local guy that's making that specific jig, and John is selling them at Angler's Arsenal. Sometimes he has them, sometimes he doesn't. I pour them myself. If you guys want to get them from me, I can go ahead and make you some. From me, they're going to run you, I don't know, $5 each. Get a hold of me, DM me, and I can set you up with some of these jigs. I can pour you some and set you up. It's a great jig. It's a super San Diego jig. Super good in San Diego. That's your juice for the day. Tonight we have Foraging for Donkeys. These guys have been putting together some big fish lately. Big ones. Really big ones. And there they are. Foraging for Donkeys.
How are you doing today?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Perfect.
Awesome. Okay, so this is it's pretty basic. I'm going to probably ask some softball questions. You guys can be as vague or as specific as you want. You may want to, if you're sponsored or have anybody you want to promote, you throw some names out there. The watchers or viewers or whatever, they love specifics, but you don't have to give specifics if you don't want. I understand.
We're an open book, man. We got no secrets. We're down to tell anyone what we're doing, what line, what pretty much the ins and outs. So
I mean, San Diego is so pressured. I feel like there's not really too many secrets nowadays, anyways.
no.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but some people feel different.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel different, and they're still super secretive or whatever. But like with YouTube and everything, Instagram, and dude, there's not very many secrets out there anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome back to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast, and I'll have to be honest with you, I don't know your names. So
I'm JJ. I created the channel with Carson.
Yeah, I'm Carson.
TJ and Carson.
JJ. His name is
JJ and Carson.
Yeah.
And so who are you guys? What are you doing? What is Foraging for Donkeys?
Foraging for Donkeys was kind of a channel that we created I wouldn't say a long time ago, but we started fishing together, and we wanted to basically have a place where we could go relive those moments and kind of put out what we're doing in case someone else watches it and they're going to hit the lake the following weekend, that they have kind of like a starting point in a way. They kind of know what's kind of working. But yeah, that's why we started it. We started just to basically relive the moments that we've created together as best friends.
Yeah.
Nice.
I feel like.
So I know you guys from Instagram. Like, you have this huge Instagram following. I guess you could say a following. And you've been taking advantage. I should say you've been taking advantage of the local situation here at El Capitan.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I mean, you
So
have to.
We have a boat and we want the lake open, but there's part of me that actually am totally fine with what's going on.
I mean,
so what are each one of your crafts that you're using right now on El Cap?
I have a Hobie PA12. I just got a little Minn Kota on the front. I struck that thing around pretty much everywhere. I mean, I go
Yeah.
to all the lakes around that thing.
Yeah.
I fish off of it's a pond prowler. It's an 8-foot pond prowler. I probably put another $200 into a deck and kind of decked it out to where it kind of fits my fishing. But
Yeah.
I built like a little stand casting platform on the front, and that's about all it is. It's a casting platform.
I'm super jealous of your palm prowler.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every time I just see you, you just like pull it out of the back of the truck, slap it in the water, put the trolling motor on it, and you're out of there.
And
I'm like, man.
It's not a bad craft, and if people are interested, there's a lot of look on your offer up apps, your Facebook Marketplace. They're about $300-400, which is a quarter of what it costs for a Hobie kayak. So
yeah.
You just put in a little time, you put in a little money, and you can build it out however you like to fish. I've seen people with electronics, full-blown engines on them. It's kind of a cool platform where you can just customize it how you want.
Yeah.
A new trolling motor too, and he's going just as fast as I am on the Hobie, so it's not even like a timing issue anymore.
Yeah, I was rocking a 45-pound thrust on the back, and then for Christmas, my wife got me an 86-pound thrust. So I'm.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm fine.
So, is that a 24-volt 86-pound thrust, or is it still 12?
It is. It's 24. I bit the bullet, and I bought a lithium 24, which was kind of pricey, but I'm gonna use it for other stuff like camping. There's a lot of stuff that you can clip in and while you're kind of on the go and charge, and I don't know. So it'll have other uses than just the pond prowler.
Yeah, for sure. I love those lithiums. It was a game changer for small craft.
Yeah, just the power output it has is you can't deny it.
Yeah.
It doesn't weigh it, so it's a huge thing for the Hobie. It's not weighing down the whole front end with a big old battery.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So tell me about your recent fish. Let's hear the story.
Actually, we got out to the lake a lot later than we wanted to. We wanted to be the first people in line, waiting for the park ranger to come open the gate, and we ended up getting there probably an hour and a half later than that. And so we pull up and we launch, and I go straight to my first spot. Had one follower in the first 3 casts, and I was like, okay, today could be good. And so, I round one of my corners, got bit by like a 6-pounder. She came off. I was like, okay, today could be really good. And 3 minutes later, I pull up and around a bend, and I throw on one of my nice rocks. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that rock that fishes El Cap. Pretty big rock. So I pull up on it, and I didn't think much. I was like, okay, like this is the last piece of structure before I gotta switch banks. And I threw in on it, working it super slow, wanted it to kind of glide. If you go slower, it allows that bait to really kick, and if you try and chop it, it's more of like a jerk bait style, So I really let it slide out, and I thought I got bit, but I had actually smacked the top of the rock. I watched the video so many times. I smacked the top of one of the rocks in there, and then I let it glide. I caught back up to my line. I let it glide one more time, and it just sat there as I hit the trolling motor, and she ate basically top water. And so as soon as I hooked her, I was like, okay, like I didn't have a net with me. It was the only day all year that I didn't bring my net, and I was like, oh shit, like how am I gonna land this thing? And so I jump onto the bank and I dragged her on, and she even pulled my back hooks off, and so she almost flopped back in, but got lucky. Ended up going 11-4.
Nice. Just a gorgeous looking fish too.
Yeah, she was dope.
It's such a great video. Have you grabbing her, she's like on the bank and you just pounce on it. Like,
I've lost too many big ones to let that one go. She got close though. She got close.
yeah, yeah.
What's really unique too about the bait he was using is from D-Flow, and they're wood, and so they'll actually glide out, and then they'll have almost like a 110 jerk bait rise to it, where it kind of noses up, and it kind of has a lift. And so I don't know if you watch the video, you can kind of see it where it's sitting there, he glides it out, and then it's kind of rising, but it's an awesome fish, cool fish catch.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah, we actually got fortunate enough to get our Henry Barber to repaint these for us by D.
okay,
And that was the first fish I had on it.
okay. So Henry Barber's a painter and not a maker.
No, he's a bait maker, but
he's a bait maker, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But he paints too.
Makes these baits right here. These are called his 150 shads.
Uh-huh.
And those are what really started out for him in the last year. And he's been doing. Carson got some on the Vision Shad.
This is a 7-inch model. Honestly, if you guys haven't given him a look, I know we're sponsored, and I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, they're sold out." If I wasn't sponsored, I'd still be fishing this bait.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm super proud of being sponsored by him because it's a bait that we stand behind. You get the bait, it's been tuned. You can tell there's like a line tie on it. He'll tie every single one up, swim every single one. It's a unique bait. A lot of glide baits, you have to apply the weight to the hooks or like weight strips in the belly. This one, if you just pull the pin, there's a weight chamber that he built inside, and he sends you these brass BBs or tungsten BBs, and then you just throw whatever you want in there, and it changes the sink rate in like 10 seconds. It's super clean, no frustration on lead wire or keeping anything extra in your bag, but it's just a really well done, well tuned bait, and this is what I've done most of my damage on in 2025. About 80% of my fish came off this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at as far as your fish? And how many, what have you caught in 2025? What have you caught since the launch ramp has been closed?
Oh, we've caught a lot.
You guys, I know you have.
When
I know you
was
have.
that? That was.
I see you out. I can't believe how much you guys fish.
Yeah,
Like I fish a lot. You guys fish more than I do. You're out there every day.
We're both chefs, so a lot of the lakes that are open on Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, we have no access because we're working. So our only days to fish are Monday, Tuesday, and we're pretty religious about it.
Okay.
Yeah, and we work together, we live together, and we fish together. So we got the same schedule, so we're always pretty much together on the lakes, and we're usually good about hitting the lakes at certain times, but it does suck to miss like the tie bites, and Jennings is never really open, or a lot of lakes are pretty stubborn about their hours, which sucks.
Yeah, if you see us out on a Friday through Sunday, we're either called out sick or we're actually took a day off to be out there. So
right on, right on. So yeah, you were even throwing those big glide baits on those breakers and caught a few good ones, right?
Yeah. Again, it's kind of just a lot of people they'll buy a glide bait and they think all of them work the same. My whole world changed in my fishing when I started looking at different glide baits as different tools. They all have different actions. And our fish are so picky, man. There's some days where they really want like almost like a 250 really slow glide, and there's other days where literally the next day you can go and you can throw the same bait you're getting smashed on and they won't even touch it. and they want something a little bit more choppy, or they want something more fluid, like a true like serpentine bait. And so, like we have a lot of swim baits. Obviously, like the wall behind us is just, it's packed. I have a problem.
I mean, like $6,000 probably just in his swim baits.
But
It's ridiculous.
all of them to me do a different thing. All of them are tools, and as soon as you start thinking a little bit differently, and not just throwing stuff to throw it, why are you throwing it? How are you throwing it? If someone's throwing it, how are you throwing it a little different?
Yeah.
All those things add up to getting bit here in San Diego.
Yeah, and me and Carson, like, just because we fish together, we actually fish completely different. Carson is a much slower, methodical, you know, every cast for him is completely different because I'm going so much faster. I like to just crank it in. I like the choppy, just erratic, like almost jerk bait, like, snap, snap, and then just let it sit, or I just keep going. Every handle turn, I'm just like, okay, I really, really want to see if it makes a difference to make it go fast or slow. So I'll change up the cadence every cast and just see what works best. And I feel like every time I watch Carson fish, it's just very methodical and it's very, one tempo, and he gets ripped. I mean, he fishes 6-inch baits, 7-inch baits, 8-inch baits, and now he's on the 10.5-inch baits.
Yeah, I'm excited. I just got this bad boy in.
That's the Deps 300. I think that's 12.
Oh, nice. You got one of those.
Yeah, from Japan. It just came in today.
Yeah.
So we'll be throwing that around.
It's so massive.
It's more of a search bait for, like I said, each thing has a different purpose.
I've been a guy that fishes mainly 6-inch baits as well. Carson has always been like a 7-inch plus bait kind of guy. I've also explored a little bit into the soft bait game a little bit. Throwing tyrants, throwing HUDs.
Right.
I kind of like dragging a little bit. It's a change in pace because I like to go really fast with the glide baits, but then I go extremely slow with the soft baits.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a little different, but I feel like that soft bait bite is just addicting. I mean, you get thudded and it hits hard.
I can't preach on the soft baits. I'm not good with them, man.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience. I really like throwing hard baits where you're eliciting strikes from fish that probably don't want to eat.
Yeah.
You're almost chucking your bait in and forcing them to eat. I find that, I don't know, that's my wheelhouse is hard baits. He really likes soft baits. He's really good at them. I don't have patience for him.
So on your average trip, how many outfits are you taking? Are you taking like JGA? Are you taking like an outfit for soft baits, or 2 outfits for soft baits and an outfit for glides, or how are you guys breaking that down in such a small craft?
I actually just got a Yak Attack box for Christmas, so I got 6 rod holders now. So the past,
Okay, nice.
yeah, now I'm chilling. But before that, I actually, from my work, I took an old milk crate and I bolted some rod holders into the back of it, and I was fishing. I would only be able to bring 4 rods at a time, so I'd have both my Phoenix rods. I'd have one that I'm throwing, my 210 on. I got one that I'm probably throwing my Buka top water gill on, and then one with like a smaller glide, like the 150. And then I'll probably bring a rod for a little deep crank.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I don't bring the crank rod, I'm bringing a BFS rod, and I'm throwing these guys, throwing the TRD bug, and I mean,
Nice.
that thing is a menace. It catches fish every time I go on the water.
Yeah.
How are you rigging that? Like a Ned rig kind of TRD?
Free rig with a 1/4 ounce.
Oh.
Yeah.
A little floating free rig action.
That's a little sneaky one, and if you haven't tried that,
it gets bit.
It gets bit.
Yeah, it's we've been this whole year, we've really tried to keep it under wraps and whatever as far as the floating free rig. we've been experimenting with different baits and different worms and creature baits that float, you know, and how high they float and whatever.
I mean, I
And
went on a trip with Todd Klein, I think like 2.5 years ago now.
mhm.
I think that's where I initially met you, but I don't think you remember it. But I went on a trip with Todd Klein, and he taught me how to free rig like 2.5 years ago. And ever since then, I didn't know what craw that he had. And so I went into the store and I was like, all right, like, what can I free rig with? And I saw the TRD bug and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this thing out. And I found out it floated. And Carson was fishing a completely different free rig than me. He made his own handmade craws at home. And so I'm fishing the free rig and I'm getting blasted, and he's getting blasted by something completely different because we're fishing two different depths. So it was kind of cool to experiment with.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
That
we both we both throw swim baits, but our other passions are top water and BFS, and that free rig really put a hurt into him the last few years.
yeah, I know it. In it's you know, I'm in that San Diego Bassmasters Club, and it's really like taken the club by storm in the last couple of years. Like
It's the new drop shot.
it really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to fish and it's easy to cast and
Yeah,
it just gets bit.
yeah.
I fish a free rig completely different too than a lot of people. Same with him. Like there's not much popping or separation from that weight. We're almost I don't we yeah, we'll tell you. We so I love throwing a jig. Like it's one of my favorite bites, especially right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you think just a tiny bit differently than most people, you know, you can get on some cool shit. This is a EWG that Tackle Warehouse puts out, and it's a skirted EWG. And I don't normally throw just like a normal jig. I throw what I call kind of like a floating jig. Most fish, they've seen that jig come in and it plummets down. If you give them the same presentation but on a free rig, it's like they've never seen it before. I also I get this from Bait Finesse Empire. It's a swing head jig.
Uh-huh.
It's really small, and again, we're throwing BFS whenever we're dragging or doing anything like that. We're throwing BFS.
Yeah.
And we're using 6-pound line, but I'll switch it from this X-Zone Stealth Craw.
Yeah.
If you haven't thrown them, get a pack. They'll be your new favorite bait on El Cap.
Yeah.
But yeah, we throw that, or I really like throwing the Deps bull flat.
Right.
This thing gets chewed.
It does. You got to pay for them, but those things I tried to compare them to the G Crack little bellows gill, the 2.8.
Nothing like that. They're a little fragile, which I'd prefer the plastic to kind of hold up more, but you can't.
Right. No, you can't. You think they look the same, but they're not the same. That bull flat, that's a killer.
Yeah.
I learned that on Havasu.
But yeah, that's what we're kind of free rigging. I'm doing more of a jig presentation when I free rig. He likes the floating kind of just plastics.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't really venture off that TRD bug very often.
He doesn't have to.
Yeah, I mean, I only bring the BFS rod when my arms really get tired after all day of throwing swim baits, or I'm taking a little intermission, you know. And
right.
Just want to have a fun day.
I mean, every time I pick that thing up, I can go to certain spots and I just know I'm gonna catch fish. Like there's not even a question. It's like, all right, gonna go catch a fish now. Like it's different going to throw a swim bait because I feel like you're trying to target the biggest fish in the lake and weed out all the small bites, really.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put the anchor back on my float tube because of the way El Cap has changed here in the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm catching fish on jigs. you know, Carolina rig, jigs, like, okay, here we go. Now we've turned the corner here
Yeah,
and things are different.
they're on that jig pretty good right now. If you know how to
Yeah.
know how to fish it, they're there.
There was a pretty good crank bite for a little bit, but that didn't last very long. From you know,
So,
other people too, and it didn't seem like it lasted very long at all.
so there, I got 7 crankfish in the first hour yesterday.
That's when we're getting all our big swim bait bites.
Oh, well, that would make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's El Cap, there's windows.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're in the right place, right time, doing what you know you should be doing, it normally
Yep.
pays off.
Right. Yeah. So there's still there's still a reaction bite in the morning. I mean, I'm not telling you guys anything. So I don't know who I'm talking to here.
Yeah, I feel that.
So anyway,
We're
yeah.
getting too comfortable.
Only I throw a little red crankbait. You guys throw friggin' 6-inch or 8-inch friggin' glide baits, but
Yeah.
maybe that's why I haven't caught any 11-pounders lately.
Hey, do something different, man. If you're tired of the same result, you got to do something different. And that's how we actually got into swim baiting.
Yeah.
Like we could go out and we could catch a bag full of fish, have the 20, 25 fish days, but we never saw, it was very rare that we got up over 8. And then as soon as we really dedicated a lot of time and a lot of money, and you really got to grind. But as soon as you put in that work, like they showed us tenfold what we normally saw on conventional gear.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Really,
So-
it's not
So I know your guys' days are limited as far as their days off go, but have you been going and checking out other lakes? I mean, Sutherland was really good this year. Have you gone up to Morena?
Yes.
Okay.
That's my little slice of heaven. They kind of wrecked it this year with what they've got going on with the water.
So they pulled, how much water did they pull out of there?
There's about 30 feet gone.
Oh, I didn't think they pulled that much.
yeah.
That's a lot.
And then algae bloom.
Yeah.
Algae bloom, and then I heard they turned off their aerator for like a month and a half.
Yeah.
It just kind of got out of control, and there's a lot of trophy fish floating.
Right. A lot of dead fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Sutherland, to be honest. I heard it was pretty low.
So yeah, Sutherland, they're reporting it at 9%. Cody went up there and talked to the guys who work there, and they're pulling a foot a week.
We live in Ramona, so
Oh, you do?
yeah,
Okay.
we're just a hop and a skip from Sutherland.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then with the rain, it came up 6 inches, but that didn't do anything because they're pulling a foot a week.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The last time I saw it this low, like in 2014, I think 2013, I think that's when it was. It took like a couple years to come back, as far as the water level goes.
Last year we got on a that was a special lake for us. We kind of locked in. We figured out what was going on.
Oh my God, it's so fun.
The topwater bite there is kind of insane.
I mean, there was times we were there 5-6 days a week, or 5 days we were fishing a week.
Yeah, trying to at least.
Yeah, we were going.
I know. Every time I was there, old Salty Sheehan was there.
Yeah, he's a stick, dude. He puts in the time too.
Yeah. I was thinking about asking him to come on, but I don't know. I've only met him like in the shop, and I don't know. I don't know if he's a talker really. I mean, he takes pictures and he shows them on Instagram.
I'm not a talker, man. I'm a fishing guy. I'm the back of the house. I'm very much of an introvert. So reach out. He's got some knowledge, man.
Yeah. I've met him a couple times. Well, I guess I did meet him a couple times up at Sutherland, just in passing. He's like, oh yeah, I got a 6-pounder over there. I got a 7, blah blah blah. And And yeah, I will. I'll talk to him.
Yeah, I don't personally know him too well. We'll message here or there, but dude seems like a good guy. He's been doing it for longer than we have. So
Yeah, dedicated.
yeah,
Definitely.
that's what it takes. Truly,
Right.
there's days where you contemplate, even fishing. There's days where you wonder why you're out there, and it's your seventh trip without a bite, and then it's the eighth trip that you know puts the pieces together, and it makes all the other trips worth it, man. So
Right.
yeah.
I mean, there was probably a 2 to 3 month period where we were getting 20 to 30 bites a day on the glides each. So I mean, it was like every time we went out, like it was dumb not to go fishing. It was like we were going and putting some fish.
And now you're lucky to get one a
now,
day.
Now it's like one a day.
But it's
Yeah.
the one you want.
Yeah, it's a grind.
Yeah.
I dumped like an 8+ yesterday.
Did you?
Last hour of the day, threw a K9 in right by a rock pile. She was exactly where she should have been, but it's big baits, man. They got some leverage on them. She came up, it was all mustached on the front of her face, and she tail walked and she threw it. So
Right.
you have a lot of heartbreak in this, but I say you lose 3 out of every 8 fish, 4 out of every 8 fish that you hook up to. They'll come up and kiss the bait, or but they're giving you little clues and little hints on what they want, and you as an angler, if you adjust from there and use the tools you have, they normally tell you exactly what they want. So it's a cool sport.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised at actually how small some of these fish are coming up and hitting these glides, though. I mean, some of these. I mean, he's throwing a 10.5-inch glide catching, 13-inch bass coming up and smoking it.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you even hitting this thing? Like, get out of here. But
Yeah.
you just be
You have no chance of even swallowing it.
No.
Or just being bullies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of shocking that they draw them out, and it's really, if you don't want to fish the glides all day, it's really an efficient way to just locate fish. It's like, okay, like I saw fish here earlier. I'm gonna go back with the free rig or the crankbait or with a kitech.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna go tear them up in the spot where I saw fish.
Yeah, that's a nasty 1-2 punch. You throw the glide bait early in the day, you pull them off the structure, and you know what quality fish is there, and you can wrap around with a jig or a free rig and pull those fish off 2 to 3 hours later.
Yeah.
It's a good search and draw tool.
That's what I did. That was my plan with the crankbait yesterday. I caught a couple of fish off of a certain point on a crankbait, and then I left it alone and came back with a jig on my way back out, and they just were just on the jig.
Yeah, they were chewing the jig.
Yeah, I think you had a little better fishing than I did. I wasn't disappointed in my day, but you did pretty darn good.
They were eating it a little weird. There, I got a few, rod shakers, that really gave you that good doink. A lot of my bites though are kind of mushy.
I felt the same way.
Yeah. You pull it off a rock and then you go to pull it up again, and I think we were just talking about how mushy the jig bites were.
Yes, right. Mushy jig bites.
Mushy, the good old mushies.
Right.
A lot of the fish that I've actually been hooking to on the free rig when I go to the BFS, I'm switching to 6-pound, and these fish are just picking it up. And by the time I'm throwing it in, it hits bank, and by the time I catch my slack, my bait's 10 feet to the right. They're just picking it up and running with it. So, a lot of the bites are either really quick on the bank, or you're dragging in 30 feet and some rock spots.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly. My first couple of fish were on the bank, and I thought, okay, they're up shallow, and then I stopped getting bites on the bank, and then I like backed off to like 11, 12 feet, and all of a sudden I started getting bit again. And they were underneath me too on my 2D. I got a little 2D sonar, and they were like they would come underneath me like 2 or 3 fish at a time, like not spaghetti, but they were there. That's a good point. There's a good school there.
We tried the live scope thing for like probably a month, and we hated it. It was cool. it was really cool to like explore and like get to see fish and throw it right on their head and see them react. And but it was just it was more of just boring. Yeah, it was just like staring at the same school all day. And I mean,
You
I
get home and your neck hurts. It's all kinked and like, what the heck?
you know I felt like we were getting more bites. I mean, I can totally see where, especially with cap closed, if you had, live scope out there right now, I'm sure you'd probably be doing some justice. But I feel like yeah, it'd probably be pretty good. But I just feel like it got boring. I mean, I'd rather go throw some reaction bites. I'd rather go soak some spots that I know. I'd rather go throw some big baits, like
Or visually fish cover. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like,
I don't think the last time we had electronics was probably over a year ago.
yeah,
I
we
mean,
don't use
Yeah.
at all.
so it's kind of one of those things where it's just a knowledgeable thing for us to get away from electronics.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great perspective.
Look up. And honestly,
Yeah.
the forward-facing sonar thing is taking people off the bank, and it's nice, man.
Yeah,
It's really nice. So keep doing what you're doing in the center of the lake, and I'll keep doing what I'm doing on the bank, and it doesn't bother me.
yeah. No, I don't have anything against people that do it either.
No.
It's just not my thing.
Not our style.
I'd rather just go throw some different baits. I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely did catch some nice fish on the scope. It was cool to get those bites. Where you're just staring at the fish, chase it, and you're just like, come on, eat the thing. But it, especially with the glide, you could definitely get some followers with the glide on the scope. But I feel like it almost takes the fun out of it. When you can see that fish following it. Instead of just casting on a random spot and it could be any cast. You don't even know if anything's there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like for me, it's just more rewarding.
Yeah. So, what are you guys throwing? What kind of outfits are you guys using? Like, can you break down it real quick? Like line, reel, rod?
Yeah, definitely. For my smaller glide baits, anywhere from your typical 5 inches up to around 6 or 7, depending on the weight. I'm using a 200 DC.
Mhm.
I'm using just like, gosh, it was a Spro KGB Shad rod. Actually, I have 2 of those. Those are my kind of smaller glide setups. I use 17-pound test, straight fluorocarbon. When I'm fishing, 9-inch, 10-inch, I'm using around 20-pound, a little bit heavier setups. And then when I'm fishing, the big girls, I'm using 25-pound fluoro, and they're coming up and they're eating it just fine.
Oh yeah, yeah, I bet.
For my bigger setup, I have a 400 Calcutta on. That kind of handles my big baits. I normally bring a medium to smaller setup, anything that can handle like 2 to 8 ounces. And then I have a smaller rod that's anywhere from 1 to 3, 1 to 4 ounces. And that's pretty much my setups. And then I have a BFS rod that I don't leave the house with.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've kind of always I've always stuck with Phoenix, even with like my spinning rods and everything. So my swim bait rods are both Phoenix. I have one that's 1/2 to 3 ounce, and I throw a lot of my smaller glides on that. I'll throw my 150. I'll throw the Shads on that. I'll even be able to throw like the top waters on that just fine. But then I'll rock the 1 to 6 ounce, and I'm throwing this thing on there.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing just absolutely has the perfect tip for it. I mean, I love my Phoenix rods, and I'm fishing with just a regular Corrado 200K. Nothing special.
Oh, okay.
I upgraded the handle. I also have an Akuma 250 swim bait reel that I use occasionally for like top water. I pretty much stay away from the Corrados when I'm throwing the top water, except for the last like 2 months. I found a Corrado at the bottom of the lake last year, and I ended up restoring it and putting it on my top water setup, and so I've been using that thing to catch some top water every now and then.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, but in regards to line, we normally smaller baits at 17, medium baits 20, the larger baits 25, and I used to religiously use sniper, and I was snapping off like crazy. I had a huge problem with the 20, 25 pound, and I switched over to Iser, and or
Triple
no,
X.
switched over to Brazex. Yeah, P line, right?
No, that's Cedar.
Or Seagar, yeah, Seagar Brazex, and
Oh yeah.
I haven't had a problem since.
Yeah. Okay.
But had a huge problem with sniper, and I loved that line for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's by far the most popular.
I still use the 6 pound, 6 to 8 pound. I don't seem to have. That's my go-to,
Yeah.
favorite line. I have no problems. As soon as it got over 15 pound, there was something they changed about the line, and it was brittle.
Yeah. They have a sale at Tackle Warehouse on Tatsu right now. Actually, all the Seagar, I think most of the Seagar lines, they're on sale. It's about the best deal I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I was sniper all day, and I was really hesitant to run to something else, and I ran to Seagar, and I honestly I've been blown away. They're great.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of guys like that Abrazex for swim baiting.
Yeah.
Glide baits.
Not a bad line.
Yeah, I think Jay's using that. Yeah, a number of guys.
It doesn't break. I mean, it's a very reliable line. I've had issues with it, so especially even up against rocks on big fish, nothing, has been snapping that bait off. So
Some of these baits are $400 too, so it makes a difference if you're not snapping them off.
Yeah.
Through probably $800 that I've just seen just launch.
Oh man.
And it's the name of the game. It's a learning curve,
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people don't do it. The big learning curve.
I had a NRX Plus. I just bought it for Christmas. I had some gift cards and whatever, but still, I went and bought an NRX Plus for like jig head minnow fishing, top of the line, blah blah blah, $650 rod. I got about 8 casts into it, and I went to put the jig minnow on the hook keeper, and I heard this little click. I was like, no way, no way. And I looked up, and the freaking 2 inches of the tip just snapped right off. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
I've done it with, you name it.
I snapped 2 rods in one day.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's good old Morena day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, well, guys, thanks for coming on. Foraging for Donkeys. If you if you're watching, if you stayed this long and watching, make sure that you go and subscribe to them on Instagram. They've got quite the parade of big fish going. So thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the opportunity, man.
Right on. Well, I'll get this out. It'll probably be Tuesday morning when this one comes out.
Alrighty. Is there anything else you want to know, or?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
You have anything you want to add?
No, I think we gave you most of our.
You really laid it out there. I'm impressed. Thank you.
Yeah. And
The viewers will thank you.
If you want any pictures for thumbnails, or you want any specific baits for, I don't know, put it on the bottom of the video or the description or something like that, let us know, and we can get you the specs. I can spec out the rods and shit like that. So.
Okay. Yeah. Then that would be great. Probably like the names of the baits, Henry Barber, or like the links. Send me the links to where you get a Henry Barber bait, or at least get on the mailing list or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All that too is in the link of our bio in our
okay.
Instagram too. That's a good quick link. You can go to DFlow, and you can also go to Henry Barber's website.
Yeah. Nice.
Alrighty, man.
All right. Congratulations on that great big fish you got last week, and we'll see you guys at the lake.
All right, man.
Okay. See. All right. See ya.